Hello, grade 7 students. I hope you are doing well. So in this lecture, we are starting a new lesson, lesson number 2, entitled Yelena, in the same unit, which is poverty. And this is Miss Maha Mohsen. So the table of contents in this PowerPoint presentation, we will start with a review of our theme, which is poverty. And then we will look at the vocabulary, the words bank. We will read the text, we will read it and comprehend its meaning. And then you have questions that are based on the text. After that, you have the answer key. So what is poverty? Take some time to brainstorm your ideas based on our previous lesson, the lesson that we took before, and try to remember what poverty means. So poverty is a state or condition in which a person or community lacks the financial resources and essentials for a minimum standard of living. Poverty means that the income level from employment is so low that basic human needs can't be met. Poverty stricken people and families might go without proper housing, clean water, healthy food, and medical attention. Each nation may have its own threshold that determines how many of its people are living in poverty. And what does a threshold mean? It means the bottom line or the number or the percentages. So each nation has its own studies based on its own number of people, so its population number, and there is a threshold that determines how many of the total people are living in poverty. Now we want to look at the vocabulary words. Now, before introducing the vocabulary words, I want you to look at the pictures. There are also other pictures in the coming slides, and I want you to infer the meaning of the picture. So now I will be moving. However, I want you, if you are an online student, if you're not coming to class, pause this video on each slide and look at pictures and try to infer their meaning. After that, you will have the vocabulary words along with their definitions or their meaning, and then you will be able to relate the vocabulary words to the suitable pictures. Now, whenever you have a clip art like this one, you have an image and you have something that's written there, something that's being said. Also, I want you to reflect by reading what's written and looking at the picture. Deduce from the picture, you can see the first boy, like his clothes in comparison to the second one, the way they are dressed. One of them looks like happy, cheerful, if you look at the facial expressions, and the other is not. And what's being said here is one of them is telling the other, I can't read, but I have excellent television viewing skills. So what can you infer? When a child says that he or she cannot read, which means they did not go to school to learn how to read and write. However, they have television viewing skills, excellent skills. And that's what they know because that's what they were getting exposed to. So what vocabulary word can you infer from this clip art? Similar to this one, read it and write what you can infer. Now here you can see the picture. You can see what is there in the image, and you can see the word rubble. So try to understand what rubble means. Also here on this slide, you have 3 pictures, but in this slide, I want you to find the one main vocabulary word, which is primary. So look at these 3 pictures together and try to infer the meaning of the word primary. Also here, look at these pictures together, compare them, and I want you to infer the meaning of the vocabulary word mindful, not mindful, mindful. And what do you think is the difference between the word mindful and the word mindful? When your mind is full, full of things, like busy maybe, for example, or not focused, or when you are mindful, relate to this picture, mindful eating, remembering, being focused, being aware of something. And here you have the vocabulary words. So the first one is cultivated. It's an adjective, which means refined and well educated. So cultivated means well educated. So it's the person who not only got education, but also a good education. Arable, it's also an adjective. It means suitable for growing crops. If you go to the very first slide where we had the pictures, you had two pictures. One of them where you had land that is suitable for growing crops and for farming, and the other one was dry. So one of them is arable and the other is not. So one of them is suitable for growing crops and the other is not. And then you have agricultural. It's also an adjective. It means related to or used to agriculture or farming. For example, machines, pesticides, equipment that are used in farming are called agricultural pesticides or agricultural equipment because they are related to agriculture. They are related to that place where they go and plant or do farming or whatever. So everything that's related there or used there is called or related to agriculture. And then you have illiterate, means unable to read and write, the person who never learned how to read and how to write. This means the person who doesn't know anything about reading and writing. And then amidst means being in mid-age. Rubble are the piles of broken stone and bricks that are left when a building falls down or gets destroyed. For example, in a war where buildings get destroyed, so all the piles, the broken stone, whatever is still there is called rubble. And then you have primary, it's also an adjective. It means more important than anything else. It means main or major. Okay, for example, we say primary reason. Okay, so the main, the major, the most important thing. And last, you have mindful, means careful not to forget about something. Also, you can relate back to the pictures. Mindful means to be aware of something, to remember, to be careful not to forget it. And now we will start with the reading. You have to read the following text in which the writer tackles the problem of Yelena, a poor girl. Then you have to answer the questions that follow. And the text is entitled Yelena. The first paragraph. During the day, when Yelena's mother and stepfather are at work, it is up to the 13-year-old to take care for the 4 children, cook their meals in an old stove, wash their clothes and hang them on the metal sheets that double as walls, and play with them amidst the rubble that surrounds their home. Paragraph number 2. Since 2004, however, Yelena has been able to do something she had never done before, going to school. A combined project of the Light and Life Foundation, UNICEF and Unilever has enabled her to attend community classrooms especially designed to provide excluded children with education. Going to school has changed my life. I've learned many things and made friends, says Yelena. But what I like most is my teacher because she listens to me and she is very loving. This is also what Yelena is saying. The classroom has become a safe haven for Yelena and for the 5,000 boys and girls who are currently benefiting from the project. Paragraph number 3. Having access to school was not easy for Yelena. Her mother gave birth to the girl when she was herself a 16-year-old teenager. This means that Yelena's mother was a 16-year-old teenager when she gave birth to Yelena. She never registered Yelena's birth and left her with her own mother, which means the mother left Yelena with the grandmother, Yelena's grandmother, in Colombia. Following the grandmother's death in 2002, Yelena's mother brought her to live with her new husband, and their 4 children. Having no birth registration, however, had meant that Yelena could not go to school. So her mother decided to say that Yelena had no documents because she had no parents. Paragraph number 4. These days, Yelena does homework at home and reads as much as she can. Still, it's unlikely that she will be able to finish her primary education, much less attend university. While missing out on an education is a great disappointment to Yelena, her greatest wish, having a friend, can still come true. What I want more than anything is somebody who will understand what my life is like, she said. Paragraph number 5. The many difficulties that Yelena has faced in her short life have made her wise beyond her years. I've seen what happens to other kids in my neighborhood who don't go to school, she says. They spend their days inhaling glue, begging for money, and getting into trouble. I feel for them. She's especially mindful of what can happen to young girls who live in poverty and have little access to education. I don't want to get married and have children, at least not anytime soon, she declares. Now, after reading the text, you have to answer the following questions using complete sentences and words of your own, which means you do not copy and paste the answers from the text. Now, also, if you are an online student, you will solve these on your own, and then I have on the coming slides the answer key, so you check your answers at the end. I will be reading the questions for you. The first one, referring to paragraph 2, who helped Yelena in attending school for the first time in her life? Number 2, with reference to paragraph 3, mention 2 difficulties that Yelena faced. Number 3, according to paragraph 4, what does Yelena miss much in her life? Number 4, refer to paragraph 5 to tell how Yelena's experience benefited her. And number 5, if you were in Yelena's shoes, which means if you were in her place, if you were that 13-year-old poor girl, would you take poverty as a reason to drop out and leave school? Yes or no, and explain your answer. You also have part B, the following statements. The following 2 statements are false because they misinterpret the meaning of the text. Refer to the text above to correct them. First one says Yelena lived with her mother and father. Of course, that's not correct. You have to refer to the text to correct it. And the second one, the difficulties that Yelena passed through made her a weak person. This is also not correct, and you have to look for this in the text and correct it. And here you have the answer key. The answer for the first question, a combined project of the Light and Life Foundation, UNICEF and Unilever helped Yelena in attending school for the first time in her life. Question number 2. By referring to paragraph 3, the difficulties that Yelena faced are that her mother didn't register her birth and that she couldn't go to school. Question number 3, according to paragraph 4, Yelena misses education the most in her life. And number 4, in reference to paragraph 5, the many difficulties that Yelena has faced in her short life have made her wise beyond her years. And number 5, if I were in Yelena's shoes, this is one suggestion and you could have another. I would not drop out and leave school for any reason, since education is the cornerstone of any society which enables people to have peaceful and decent life despite any social hindrance. Education is the ship that sails us to the safe shore. And now I want to stop here a bit and reflect on question number 5. I want you to think on your own and reflect on this answer. Do you agree that what do you think, like in your situation, if you were in Yelena's shoes, if you were Yelena, would you drop school because of poverty? Yes or no? And do you agree that education is it's the turning point? It's like the weapon for you to have a good life, because that's a fact, yeah. Or that's what's happening in our world today. The educated people are the ones are having of course a better life, and those who are not educated are facing so many problems in their lives, and they are being discriminated against and bullied, and they're facing so many difficulties. So the aim from this theme is for you to reflect on these ideas and to really think for yourself and find your own answers. Now, part B, the correction for the wrong sentences are the following. Number 1, Yelena lived with her mother and her stepfather, not her father. And number 2, the difficulties that Yelena passed through made her a strong and determined person. And here, this presentation comes to an end. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching this video. I hope everything is clear. If you have any question, you can always send me an email. Have a nice day.